Have you ever just stopped and thought about the air you're breathing right now? I mean, it's everywhere, every second of our lives, but we barely give it a second thought. It's the most common thing in the world, and yet it's also a bit of a mystery. Well, today we're going to solve it together.
And here's the crazy part, right? Air is literally everywhere, filling every single space around us. We feel its power all the time. A gentle breeze, a huge gust of wind. It's strong enough to make these pinwheels spin like crazy, but you can't see it. It's a force we feel, but can't lay our eyes on.
Of course, we know it's there. The proof is all around us, isn't it? We see the leaves rustling. We feel that wind on our faces. You watch your clothes dancing on a clothesline. You fly a kite. You see those massive windmills turning. The evidence is, well, it's undeniable.
Which brings us to the big question for today. If we can't see it, but we can see and feel everything it does, what in the world is this invisible force that's all around us?
All right, to crack this case, we have to start with the absolute basics, and that's proving that air isn't just, nothing. So let's dive into our very first clue.
Our investigation kicks off with a really simple question. If I hand you a bottle that looks completely empty, is it really empty?
Okay, let's put it to the test. Imagine we take that empty bottle and push it straight down into a bucket of water. And hey, look at that. The water can't get in. Something is already inside that bottle, taking up all the space and blocking the way.
But then, the moment we tilt that bottle, whoosh, bubbles start streaming out. And as those bubbles escape, water rushes right in to fill the space. Those bubbles? That's our proof. That's the air getting out of the way. So here's the big takeaway from that little experiment. Air is a real, physical substance. Yeah, it's invisible, it's transparent, but it takes up space. It is absolutely not nothing. It's something. Okay, so if air is a something, that leads to our next big question. What is it made of? It's time to deconstruct this invisible stuff and figure out its secret recipe.
For a really long time, people just assumed air was a single thing, one element. It wasn't until the 18th century that scientists started doing experiments and realized, whoa, wait a minute, air is actually a mix of different things.
And this classic experiment shows us exactly how they figured that out. You light two candles, then you cover one with a glass. You watch, and after just a few moments, the covered candle goes out. Now, why did that happen? It's not like it ran out of wax. No, it ran out of a very specific ingredient in the air that fire needs to burn. And that crucial ingredient has a name: oxygen. It's the part of the air that not only feeds a flame, but is also the thing that almost all living creatures, including us, need to breathe to survive. It's absolutely essential. So, what is the full secret recipe? Well, get ready for a surprise, because this is something most people get wrong. The air we breathe is not mostly oxygen, not even close. The vast, vast majority, almost 80%, is actually nitrogen. Then comes our life-giving oxygen at about 21%, and then everything else. All the other gases, water vapor, you name it, is crammed into that tiny little 1% slice. In that little 1%, it also includes tiny solid things. I bet you've seen this before. A beam of sunlight slanting into a room, and it looks like there are millions of tiny specks just dancing in the light. Well, that's dust, and it's floating in the air all around us all the time.
So now we know what air is. But let's dig a little deeper, because where we find air can be pretty surprising. It's hiding out in these little pockets all over our planet. Ever put a pot of water on the stove and see those tiny bubbles forming on the bottom way before it actually boils? That's not steam, that's air. It was dissolved in the water, and as the water gets warmer, the air escapes. And that is how fish and other animals underwater get the oxygen they need to breathe. Pretty cool, right?
And it's the same deal with soil. If you take a lump of dry dirt and pour some water on it, you'll see all these little bubbles fizzing up. Again, that's air, escaping from all the tiny spaces between the bits of soil. That trapped air is super important for plant roots and all the little critters living underground.
So air's in the atmosphere, it's in the water, it's in the soil, it's just about everywhere, and it's essential for life. This brings us to our final, and maybe biggest piece of the puzzle: how our planet keeps this life-giving mixture perfectly balanced. It's like a great, big planetary breath.
It all comes down to this incredible cycle: the Great Exchange. Think of it like this. We and all other animals breathe in oxygen, and we breathe out carbon dioxide. Plants, they do the exact opposite.
They take in our carbon dioxide, use sunlight to turn it into food, and then they release oxygen back out. So basically, our waste is their fuel, and their waste is what gives us life.
And this perfect cycle just shows how deeply connected every single living thing on Earth really is. Plants need animals, animals need plants. And the one thing that connects us all is the very air that we share. And let's not forget, the importance of air goes way beyond just breathing. We figured out how to use it to generate power with windmills. It's what allows sailboats and airplanes to move. It even helps plants spread their seeds on the wind. Air truly is an invisible engine that powers and shapes our entire world.
So we've seen that air is so much more than empty space. It's this complex substance, it's a hidden life support system, and it's the invisible thread that ties every living thing on this planet together. The next time you take a breath, just think about that, and maybe ask yourself, if air is this incredible, what other invisible forces are out there shaping our world every day?